Hey guys, so this is my review for Matrix Resurrections, and this review will have spoilers. So I'm letting you know now, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this review because this review will have spoilers. Okay, where do I begin? I was a big fan of the original Matrix movie. I thought that movie was a masterpiece. Um, the second movie was pretty good, not as good as the first one, but still a good, entertaining movie. I liked it. And then the third movie, I didn't really like too much. I thought that was the worst one. So it's been almost 20 years, and I was actually really excited for this new fourth Matrix movie. But unfortunately, was it worth the wait? No. It's not a bad movie, but it's just not a good movie either. I mean, they had good ideas, but there was a lot of flaws in this movie. So I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the movie first, and then I'm going to tell you what I didn't like. So, as for what I liked about this movie, I liked some of the changes that were made. I like the aspect of the story of now that, because going by the movie, 60 years have passed since the last movie, and basically there was like this machine war where, you had machines that were trying to kill the humans, and then you had the machines that were actually on the same side of the humans. Now, they kind of teased this with a quick little flashback in the movie, and I was kind of hoping they would have showed more of it, because I would have liked to have seen this machine war. Um, it was nice to actually see machines working with the humans. What else did I like? Obviously, I love Keanu Reeves' character. He's back as Neo. I like Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity. So having them back was, definitely a plus for the movie. I really like Neil Patrick Harris's character because he is basically the new architect, which the original architect from the second and third movie, he was all about mathematical precision and formulas, whereas this new architect played by Neil Patrick Harris is more about studying human emotions and how that and human feelings. And with him being the antagonist of this movie, I thought that was actually pretty good. I like that. What else? Oh, I did like Jessica Henwick. She was basically the only character from the crew, this new crew, that I liked, because the other characters, they didn't really do much of anything. I don't remember none of their names. They never really did anything memorable. Just Jessica Henwick's character is the only one I liked. Now, the things I didn't like about this movie, well, one of the biggest flaws of this movie are the action scenes. And what it comes down to is they didn't have the same fight choreographer that they had for the original Matrix movies, and that hurts. For the original Matrix movie, it was the same guy that did the choreography for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think his name was Wei Yun Ping. I think I'm saying his name wrong, but they didn't bring him back for this movie, and I don't know who the choreographer was for this movie, but they did a really bad job. If you're going into this movie expecting to see the same type of fight scenes that you saw in the original three movies, you're going to be disappointed. The way that it's choreographed is bad. There's a lot of quick cuts, and it just lacked the creativity and the fluidness of the original movies. And another thing that bothered me about this movie is, now I know that in this movie, Neo is trying to regain his powers and that he's not as powerful as he was before. But all they had him doing was basically like what looks like a force barrier, which he's used before in the original movies where he stops bullets in midair. And the other move that he uses a lot is like a force push where he just uses that to push enemies off of him, or he uses that to push vehicles away from him. And it looked cool at first, when he first did it, but he used this move like 30 times during the movie. And once you've seen that for the 30th time, it gets kind of old. I was kind of hoping to see him do something different. And I wasn't a big fan of the new Agent Smith. I mean, this new guy, I think his name is Jonathan Groff. He's just not as good as Hugo Weaving was as the original Agent Smith. And I was also hoping to see Lawrence Fishburne back as Morpheus, but unfortunately, we didn't get him either. Now, the movie does explain why this new Morpheus is different than the one that we know, but I would have preferred the original Lawrence Fishburne because, he was one of the important foundations of the original trilogy, was his character. And I don't know why they didn't include him in this movie. Now, here's the big thing that I kind of have mixed feelings on. And it's all about what happens at the end of the movie. So, basically it's revealed that Neo isn't the only anomaly, because apparently now Trinity is too. Now, when this was revealed, I was kind of like, okay, it seems pretty cool. But the more I thought about it, the more it didn't make sense. Because in the original movies, they never showed any signs of her having anomaly-like powers. Now she was obviously a red pill. She was freed from the Matrix. And, she went through the training and stuff. So she has the abilities of a red pill. But she never showed any signs of being an anomaly, the one. So it didn't make sense to me for her to have these kind of abilities in this movie. And it only showed at the very end of the movie when her and Neo dove off a building and she starts to float and she's holding Neo up. And then the whole execution of that scene was all wrong. Like, okay, if you're going to make a change like this, at least make the scene epic. It just was her floating, and Neo was like, I'm not the one that's doing this. And then they just kind of slowly float upwards, and that was it. I mean, it was very lackluster in the way they executed that scene. Now, there's only one logical way I could see them doing this with Trinity, and that's from the second movie when Neo had to bring her back to life. And I'm thinking maybe he put some of his anomaly code in her to help bring her back to life. That's the only logical way I could see this happening. But going by the way it was executed in this movie, they never said anything about that. It's like they basically just gave her powers too for no reason. And I don't mind her having powers, but at least give us a logical reason why she has these powers. You don't just give her powers and because now you kind of changing the original lore of the movie, and that's just really going to cause more confusion than anything else. So like I said, it wasn't a bad movie, but it just wasn't a good movie either. It's like they had certain ideas that they could have fleshed out more, but they didn't. and certain ideas that just fell flat. And the action scenes definitely fell flat. Oh, and one more thing. Then there's a cameo of the Merovingian, you know, the program, the rogue program that had the exiles from the second and the third movie. And he makes a brief appearance in this movie, but it makes no sense. It's like he just shows up suddenly, says a couple of lines, and Neo fights some of his exiles, and then he's just gone, just like that. It's like his appearance really had no purpose to the plot. And, I like this character from the second and third movie. I kind of wish they would have gave him more scenes instead of him just being in the movie for like 2 minutes and then just gone. So there was certain parts of the plot that I liked. Action scenes were horrible. And then there was certain parts about the plot that made no sense. Like Trinity having powers, that made no sense. It's like they just gave her those powers just to give it to her. Now, I don't mind her having powers, but at least tell us why she has the powers, and the movie didn't do that. And obviously she loves Neo. Neo loves her. They have a connection, but it still doesn't give us a logical reason why she has powers. Now, if they would have shown signs of this in the original trilogy, then I would have been all for it. But it just feels like they just threw this in there at the last minute, and it just doesn't flow well with the rest of the movie. So, this movie was... I tried not to set my expectations too high, because I know you're not going to top the original movie. I knew they weren't going to do that. But at least I was hoping to get a movie that was at least on the same level as the second movie. And then you also have to factor in that it's 2021. So I was expecting some really good action scenes with... the special effects were, decent, but the action scenes were horrible. And I was expecting some really good, well-choreographed action scenes, and unfortunately we didn't get that. Certain aspects of the plot I liked, and certain aspects I didn't like. Would I watch this movie again? If I do watch it again, I might watch it one more time just to, see if there's anything I might have missed. But after that, I really don't need to see this movie again. And that's very disappointing, because I was excited for this movie. I'm a big fan of the first Matrix movie. That's a masterpiece. And this movie is nowhere near that. It's not as good as the first movie. It's not as good as the second movie. It's about on the same level as the third movie, honestly, in my opinion. And, like I said, I was expecting more. And I tried my best not to set my expectations too high. I don't think I did. I think everybody just wanted a good action movie with a continuation of the story that we loved. With some, new plot twists and stuff. But unfortunately, they just fell short on this movie. And I don't know if Lana Wachowski, I don't know if her heart and soul was in this movie. I don't know if she felt like she was obligated to make this movie. I don't know if Warner Brothers forced her to do it, but it's just not the same. And that's unfortunate. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that.